We do have NrG taking on Type.DBS, a TVT, guaranteeing us a TVP in the finals. Already know that Wellmu will be sitting up there, Wellmu from Eclipsia. And now it is NrG taking on his opponent, well, in-game name Fireball, but it's DBS. And let's go ahead and introduce these players in the southeast position as the pink, always pink Terran, Mr. Bitter. It is NrG, and in this case, Princess.
NrG Princess down in the bottom right, and up at the top left it is Type.DBS or IES Fireball. I'm actually really proud to see DBS this far in the tournament. Type is a team that I had some affiliation with when I first went to Germany months ago. I kind of helped them get started, set up their team house, met and lived with the guys for a little while, and just sort of gave them some tips as they started to run things on their own. And, you know, their results have been getting steadily better and better and better. DBS, a German Terran player who was picked up by the team after they had recruited Phoenix and Real, 2 Koreans. And I think DBS has really benefited a lot from that practice environment. And here he is. He's going to go ahead and go proxy Arax just outside of the natural expansion. Or just outside Princess's, aka NrG's natural expansion. I think this is probably going to be proxy Marauder as we see the gas going down.
You're right, gas is going down. Now, I wanted to, before we see exactly how this one is going to unveil itself, you're talking a little bit about training conditions, and NrG is another individual who certainly had some interesting training I guess experiences over the last few months, as he did go to Korea, and I believe still might be in Korea. I'm not sure if he's moved around since then, but got a lot of training out there, did a lot of laddering, and very curious to see how this is going to take effect here. I mean, just reaching one of these 4 spots, in my opinion, and we do see the tech lab going down there, so your call is good, as we'll get those Marauders started here very, very soon. But, of course, we do have the scouting SCV as well, seeing, okay, gas and nothing else. There's definitely something fishy, so be curious exactly. We're already going to see the bunker go down, and a wise decision here by Princess.
Yep, exactly the right decision. If the bunker's up, then the Marauders can't get in. And it will be up. It's got plenty of time. The bunker will be finished around the time that first Marauder gets over to the ramp. So NrG looking nice and safe here on his 1 base. Still hasn't gassed, so this is probably going to throw down a command center, and he does do just that. So it's 1 Rax fast expand against this proxy Marauder opening of DBS. DBS probably just going to expand behind this as well.
Yeah, I'd guess. Now, the perfect bunker timing here. SCV not even going to make it up there. In fact, he's going to eject those Marines, try to get them down. Marauder's going to go toe-to-toe here versus these Marines. Pulls back the weak Marine. Some good early game micro, but I think he's going to lose that one, and he does. Second Marauder coming in, and we are going to have another Marine popping out here. But he takes out that SCV. Is he going to go for it? Wow, he's going to push the issue. Oh, but there it is. Nice. The SCV meets an untimely death and cancels that out. So here comes the Rax moving forward, and we do have the factory going down here for DBS.
The proxied Rax becomes a scouting Rax. You know, DBS, he could realistically try to just charge up this ramp. There's only a single Marine in this bunker, and he's actually going to do just that. He's going to run right past. And this is going to force a big reaction out of NrG. He's going to pull all of his SCVs. That's, of course, the right thing to do. And DBS has got a micro very well, but he's going to be completely surrounded, and these Marauders are going to die. And that commitment did not really bear much fruit, as 3 Marauders were traded for an SCV and a couple of Marines.
That commitment kind of like shriveled up the tree that was trying to bear fruit a little bit, as he is definitely retreating back. You know, inside the main base, as you mentioned, he is throwing down that command center. Starport already coming out as well. But that Rax, going to be a while before he gets back there. So a vulnerable point in time here for DBS. Very interested to see exactly how he's going to transition from here. Already pooling about 250 gas. And definitely going to see which way he's going to go as a Hellion comes out as well. And don't forget, we just got a random map tech lab, which, you know, some people have suggested, Terrans mostly, that there just needs to be random reactors and tech labs around the map. And we're going to find out just what a bad idea that would actually be here during this game. So,
hey, maybe in the future. I mean, people have been trying new things on maps like neutral creep tuners.
So what do you think about the transition here for Major? It looks like he is going to at least go with a Banshee, getting the double Hellion right now as well. What do you think about what he's done here?
I like it. It's going to allow him to put a little bit of counter pressure on DBS. DBS is going to have a Viking out, so any sort of aerial assault from Major's probably not going to be too successful. But I mean, at this point, Major's in a pretty healthy position. He's got the SCV lead. He's got the faster double orbital. He's already mining in his natural. I mean, he's definitely moving into the mid game ahead of his opponent. DBS, he's going to have to make something happen here. We can see that he's actually researching Cloak. That gets scanned right away. And this transition is one that I'm not wild about. Proxy Marauder into additional cheese. It's going to be really tough to make this work, and I think Major, after scanning that, might just make a Raven and sit back and be like, come at me, bro.
He is trying to queue up a Raven, I believe, but he just does not have supply for it. Good sir, he is currently supply block there. His depot finishes up and gets that done, so we are going to have the factory move over, throw down a tech lab as well. And out in the middle of the map, we just have this large Hellion force. Now, could go up here, but already at the front. I mean, man, DBS has been, he's literally had just enough here as a Hellion, a landed Viking, a single Marauder, and now a tank pops out. We have 2 more barracks on the way, but he's really been skimming by with as little as he possibly could have. But the expansion, I feel like, for Major is also going to be coming a little bit sooner here. And that Raven finally going to be popping out. And here comes that Banshee in from the east side.
And will he be able to find any SCVs to kill? I think he's going to get at least a handful, as the Ravens are quite out of position. One SCV going to go down right away. One of the great things about this Banshee is that it reveals all of Major's intentions, and DBS can say to himself, all right, so you're going to play mech. Banshee is just going to be sacked. I think DBS realizes that there's no way that he's going to be able to save it, and she ends up getting shot down after killing a handful of workers. In total, DBS has killed 9 SCVs this game, and that means that he's a little ahead. And I think one thing that really benefited DBS is the fact that Major's chosen to go into mech after the openings that we saw. I mean, there was not really any opportunity with a mech opening to apply much counter pressure. And now DBS is sort of stabilized. He's got a worker lead. He's on even bases. And he can just sort of macro up, and it's going to be bio against mech. And it's just, this will all be about execution.
Yeah, I mean, which obviously will open Major up. I think it will be one of the biggest problems that he's going to have to deal with, just opening up to a lot of potential drops. I mean, he's got his Blue Flame is about to finish. There it finishes up. He's certainly got a nice Hellion count here. Which of course is necessary playing mech, and especially with all this bio. But we see quite a few Marauders coming out here on the field. There are 2 racks with tech labs, both of them getting Marauders at this point, and also researching Combat Shield. He doesn't have anything left in terms of his bio upgrades are concerned, except for, of course, his +1s. But there are 1 engineering bay and an armory already on the way. I mean, it's all going to come down to, you know, this as you mentioned, the macro game, but a lot about the positioning. Really worry in these types of situations, like what that will mean for drops. But with these 3 Vikings and the Raven out, it does kind of set him up nicely for the defense of that. And here comes the first big army, at least to making its way to the midpoint of the map here by DBS. What is he going to choose to do with it? That is the question.
Well, I think he's going to get aggressive here, Wheat. Major with a great scan right on top of it, sees what's coming. You know, as all this has happened, Major's gotten his 3rd orbital. He's landing it right now. He'll be mining on 3 bases. We're going to have a bit of a fight here as Marauders and Marines stem in, but there's a lot of Blue Flame Hellions with siege tank support. And this is not a fight that's going to go very well for DBS at all. Major's just going to kind of roll right through. Hellions not great against Marauders, but when you have this many of them, it doesn't matter all that much. And DBS's first army becomes a sacrifice.
Yeah, and here comes the pickup for the Blue Flame. And look at the route in which it's going here, Bitter. It's going to be going to the west side of the map. Of course, there's nothing here in vision for DBS to find this, and I have a feeling this is going to be a massacre right here. I mean, most of the SCVs down at the natural, but with a completely undefended and relatively small army here from DBS, so I worry that this drop is going to do a ridiculous amount of damage. And here it comes. There's the unload. And immediate reaction, that might help a little bit. The SCVs are lining up now. And is he going to get one hit? He needs a second one, and he's going to get away with that.
Wow.
Not as bad as I thought it might be. A great reaction from DBS. I mean, it's one of those moments where those units are popping out of the factories and the racks at just the perfect time. Maybe should have gone a little bit more inside, but could have been a lot worse than I think it actually was. But here we have another Hellion force moving its way up towards the northeast, the third base of DBS. Maybe these Hellions will fare a bit better.
I think they're going to, Weed. They're going to find a completely undefended expansion, and workers, like you like to say, lining up and taking a lot of heavy damage. Some of these Hellions will fall, but the great thing about a Hellion is it's almost always cost-effective. 100 minerals is all you have to invest, and if you can kill 2 workers, it is well worth it. DBS, he's done a really nice job of avoiding taking critical amounts of damage, but the thing that's not going so well for him is Major's sort of building up this brutal army. He's got siege tanks, he's got Vikings, and with Hellions kind of in the mix to absorb damage and to punch back to any light units, I think the ultimate army of Major is just so much better than the one DBS is building.
Oh, Hellions making a return visit, and they're going to get one more hit here. They do. We had 13 SCVs killed, now up to 24 SCVs. And you are right. I mean, in addition to that fantastic army that you were mentioning that, of course, we're seeing out of Major, he's been doing this economical damage. He's now sitting at nearly 30 SCVs more than his opponent, and DBS may be scrambling here to do something, and I think that is prompting a potential attack here as we see him hitting that halfway point at the Zelnaga Tower. He's going to have a hard time breaking this line with so many Hellions out. I count about 12 out right now, and with all these Vikings, even has the Banshee in the mix, going to go in for another drop, and even with those fewer Hellions, he's in great shape right now.
Man, everything about Major's play is just so refined and looking so strong. He's got a turret ring around his bases so that he can't be dropped, and he's continuing to position his army in such a way that he just can't really be attacked. And DBS is in this really awkward spot where he's got the inferior fighting army. Oh, as we do have enough skirmish here, managing to catch Major unsieged. That's exactly what DBS needs right now, but as soon as the tanks go back into siege mode, the heavy damage starts to be dealt, and DBS just realizing his position taps out with the GG.